A childhood sleepover relies on a very specific geometry, an isolated house, heavy deadbolts, and the quiet assumption of total anonymity. We treat these environments like impenetrable fortresses. For two 15-year-old boys left alone for the weekend, the perimeter felt entirely secure. They spent the evening walled off from the rest of the world, cycling through video games and spilling junk food across the living room floor. But around 10 o'clock, they created a breach. Out of sheer boredom, one of the boys dialed a random string of numbers for a prank call. Instead of getting a confused homeowner, a man with a deep, rough voice picked up the line. The boys stumbled through a joke about stealing car wheels, but the stranger didn't react. He just asked, "What's your name, kid? You sure it's not Anthony?" The caller ID was registered to the boy's father. There was absolutely no digital footprint linking that phone to his friend Anthony sitting right next to him. The moment that name was spoken over the line, the invisible wall around the house collapsed. Their supposed isolation was actually a massive vulnerability, and someone on the other end knew exactly who and where they were. The silence in the living room was broken at the front door. Outside, a tall figure began to test the lock on the storm door. This diagram shows exactly why that locked front door didn't matter. Earlier that day, the boys had left their bikes in the backyard and completely forgot to secure their entry points, leaving an unobstructed path straight through the gate and into the kitchen. The silhouette outside didn't have to break a window. He simply walked around the side of the property, opened the back door, and stepped inside the home. Hearing the gate open, the boys abandoned the ground floor. They crept upstairs as quietly as possible, retreating into a bedroom and crawling under a cloth-covered bed to hide. But once an intruder crosses the exterior threshold, a bedroom offers no real protection. The walls of the house cease to be a shield, and instead trap the occupants inside with the threat. Lying face down on the floor, they listened as the intruder systematically cleared the house. Heavy thumps climbed the stairs. Coat hangers scraped together as he checked the closet. Then the footsteps moved toward the bed and completely stopped. The dead silence broke with a haunting scream of sheer panic. A pair of hands reached under the cloth, grabbed Anthony, and violently pulled him out from under the bed. His friends scrambled out behind him, grabbed a heavy screwdriver off the nightstand, and drove it directly into the intruder's back. The attacker screamed in agony and dropped Anthony. The boys bolted out the back door and sprinted into the nearby woods. Crouching behind a bush, they watched the man step outside, scan the dark tree line, and immediately begin rapidly advancing on their exact position, tracking them through the pitch black. They survived by running blindly through the crunching leaves until the footsteps finally veered off in another direction. But their survival relied entirely on spontaneous, brutal violence, shattering the quiet safety of their childhood sanctuary. A home's perimeter doesn't always fail from the outside in. Sometimes the threat is already cohabitating with you. Take a massive, sprawling adult home, a place with multiple unused guest bedrooms that project a sense of wealthy security. A guest staying over after a fight with his wife was trying to sleep when he heard strange auditory anomalies. Faint tapping on the walls and hushed voices were bleeding through from the supposedly empty, dead-bolted guest bedroom right next door. When the homeowner finally retrieved the key and bypassed the lock, a cold breeze hit them immediately. They watched a gaunt, dark figure vaulting out the open window and scrambling across the patio roof into the night. Left behind was the terrifying forensic evidence of dangerous, addicted squatters who had been living inside the walls undetected for over a week. The white bedsheets were stained with dark blood, and a butcher knife that had gone missing from the kitchen lay abandoned on the floor. Extreme square footage does not equate to a safer home. Without constant monitoring, it merely provides vast, quiet blind spots for predators to occupy right under your nose. But there is a final type of intrusion, one that completely ignores the structural logic of a house entirely. Two 10-year-old boys were sleeping on couches in a massive, locked basement. Sometime deep in the night, one of the boys woke up. Illuminated only by the dim, ambient light of a blank television screen, an impossibly tall, dark object stood motionless by the stairs, stretching almost all the way to the ceiling. Then the television clicked off. The faint light vanished instantly, plunging the boys into pitch blackness alongside the silent entity. The boy lay paralyzed with his eyes shut until sudden, horrific screaming echoed from the floor above. His friend's mother had just woken up to find the exact same towering, dark figure standing right beside her locked bedroom door. There were no broken windows or signs of forced entry. The figure appeared in both the basement and the master bedroom in a single night, occupying the house without ever needing to interact with a physical lock or alarm. Whether the threat is a vengeful stranger hunting a voice on the phone, parasitic squatters occupying an empty room, or an unexplained entity that walks through solid walls, the concept of a completely secure safe house is a myth. Physical locks are ultimately just metal placebos we use to calm our nerves. Once an intruder slips past them, the mind can never truly repair the illusion of safety. You can lock the front door, but you can never be entirely sure who or what is already inside with you. Subscribe and like for more stories.